Hello guys. Welcome to Ro-Ghoul once again. Now, this video will be talking about the potential of Ro-Ghoul. Okay, finally. In this video we're going to be talking about the potential of Ro-Ghoul and a bit more detailed explanation of what I said in the last video of the EPK one and Shu 2 showcase. I talked about it for a bit, but in here I'm going to show you and be more detailed with what Ro-Ghoul can possibly have. So there's this new feature in Ro-Ghoul where if you use the R move of Owl, keep in mind I'm not really lagging, you get to just walk on air. It's pretty cool. Yes, I know the server is 64 hours, and that's another problem we need to talk about. You know, I like this kind. Oh, I can dash. Okay, never mind. You know, we have some shards here. Every time I use the R, I just this is not normal, guys. Okay. For those of you who don't know, I'm a very sarcastic person, so sometimes my sarcasm actually flies over the heads of people. You guys are gonna have to get used to that, unfortunately. So let's kill this guy over here.
Wow.
Okay. It's oh, okay. 25, wasn't it 50,000? Okay, something is not right. Something is not right, guys. I think if I how is he actually damaging Eto? What is going on in this server? Okay, stop, Eto, stop. Eto, oh my god. What happened to me? I'm not glass. I'm not glass. So, okay. Oh my god. Okay. Oh. Okay, what is my character doing? Can we not do this? Okay, there we go. No, I like floating around. It's good. Don't do that. Okay. Okay, I think okay. Oh. Eto can't do anything to me. Oh. No. I like this Ro-Ghoul update. It's really good, you know. I mean, floating owls make sense since owl is a bird, supposedly. And it's supposed to float like this, you know, so it makes a lot of sense that this is happening. Anyways. Alright, so I managed to join a stable server that's 2 hours long, almost 3 hours. And as you guys can see, the R doesn't send me to hell, basically. So, without further ado, let's begin with this video. So, first of all, let me address Roblox generally. Roblox, over the years, it has been, you could say, up and running, increased in its optimization levels, in its detail, quality, editing software regarding Roblox Studio. I mean, with Roblox Studio you can create stuff like this, and as a matter of fact, Ro-Ghoul was based off Blender specifically. I'm not much of a geek towards that area. I'm not much of a nerd towards that area. As a matter of fact, you can call me stupid. And it's just really beautiful, the change that Roblox has given us this beautiful game called Roblox. Like back then Roblox was just a game for kids. and eventually it evolved into this insane game, heavily played by everyone, etc. Now moving on, each game has its own developer, and each developer have their own mindset slash information slash experience regarding game creation or game development. You know, not everyone has the same mindset, and it really depends on the game as well. So that's just generally. Now let's talk about Ro-Ghoul specifically. So as you guys know from the last video, I have started rewatching Tokyo Ghoul. A little of background information is that Tokyo Ghoul was, matter of fact, my first anime. I just fell in love with it. So far, even though I've watched a lot of animes since then, there hasn't been an anime that could top Ro-Ghoul for me. Okay. That's my childhood. I didn't really have a laptop that could provide, you could say, peak experience of gaming. Like, I had a select few of games that I could run on that laptop. One of them was Roblox, and then you got Ro-Ghoul because of Tokyo Ghoul. I really fell in love with Ro-Ghoul to the point that I didn't care how long it would take me. I just said, you know what, I'm just gonna grind to max level. Only the OGs know that back in the day, getting max level was basically hell. It was technically impossible, but a lot of us persevered through. That's why we're OGs. And we grinded daily. You know, you got the stories of going to school and leaving the auto clicker on in your room, and then coming back, repeating the process, grinding some bosses, and then getting to some PvP, getting to some trainings, etc. That was the Ro-Ghoul life, you could say. The average life of a Ro-Ghoulian back in the day. We had it really hard. I mean, for me, it took me 3 years to actually max both slots, which is Ghoul and CCG, just for Sushi to release something like objectives. And back when he did that, I was like, okay. I mean, firstly, he released Gyakusatsu and like better bosses, more bosses, etc. And then it was Gyakusatsu, and then it was even more bosses, and then it was this objectives thing. They're not really in order, the things I just said, but you guys get the gist of it. So now it's really easy to get max level on Ro-Ghoul. You just need like 1 day of consistent grinding, and you're good to go. The grind is not gonna be fun. Like, this is all you're gonna do, you know. And I'm max level, so even if you're like level 1500, you can just like go and grind bosses like that, you know, spam. Like, if you know what to get and what to grind for and how to grind and what you want to grind for, then the grind is just a piece of cake. But it gets boring. When I was playing the Jujutsu Kaisen games with one of my brothers, I realized it was fun. Of course, every game has their own flaws and defects and things they can do better. And that's why you could say that's one of the reasons I made the channel, is to talk about that. Now he's gonna go to owl form, and I don't want to fight him in owl form, so I'm just gonna leave. So right now, I compared the Jujutsu Kaisen games to Ro-Ghoul, and I was like, you know what, there's a lot of potential. And then I started remembering all the games, you could say bandit beater games on Roblox, and I was like, Ro-Ghoul can really use this. Let me show you guys what I'm actually talking about in terms of the other games that Ro-Ghoul can, you could say, take from and apply to its own. So, of course, I'm gonna make a video about each of the games I'm gonna showcase to you right now. I just want to show you like the simple aspects of each game. For example, in Kaizen, you have like different kind of bosses, right? It's not only for Kaizen, it's applicable for Jujutsu Zero, it's applicable for Jujutsu Infinite, where you land, you get a task or objective, and then you go to that mission itself and you like do something there, you fight a specific amount of sorcerers, or etc. Right? And I thought about it in terms of Ro-Ghoul, and I was like, okay, Ro-Ghoul, can you really use that in terms of objectives? Because right now the NPCs are just one shot after like level 1000, if you know how to, if you're going for a full Quinke or Kagane build, up until level 1000 you can one-shot every NPC, and then bosses are not really much fun to fight except you could say Gyakusatsu, Arima, and Eto. While rewatching Ro-Ghoul, I saw that mainly Kaganes and Quinkeys weren't really used immediately. At first it was more of like, okay, it's fists, right? And I thought about it, I was like, okay, that would be a really cool feature where you can just like use your fists. In Ro-Ghoul, if you use your fists, it's honestly just garbage, you know? Like, what are you actually doing? You can't really hit a fist combo. I don't know if, like, what Sushi's trying to go for, but this is just a recommendation. So, for example, if I block, I parry, basically, and the guy gets stunned, and I can, like, do a combo on him, you know, etc. I feel like we should be able to utilize our fists in a much better way. A parry feature that was added to Tsukiyama himself, and that's it. I feel like a parry feature should be able to be added to every game, to every aspect in Ro-Ghoul because of the PvP. And there's even a clashing feature where it's like if both of you hit the same move at the same time, it creates this clashing cutscene and you have to spam a specific amount of like keys on your keyboard, etc. Or you can click, you know. All of these are just like ideas you can add to Ro-Ghoul, and you can even expand the map and add wards, because as I said, like, I'm rewatching Ro-Ghoul now, and there are specific wards there, the 20th ward, the 11th ward, etc. You can just add that to Ro-Ghoul, and Ro-Ghoul would be such a goated game. It would be more fun. Another thing is raids, you know, like raiding CCG Tower, or raiding Aogiri Tree, or raiding Anteku, you know. All of these raids that are possible, I'm like, okay. Of course, in factions, you can just go raid something if you want, but still, the raid feature would be very useful in Ro-Ghoul, or Gyakusatsu raid, because in the anime, Gyakusatsu is basically Kaneki going berserk, and Gyakusatsu, as a matter of fact, takes over the whole city, you know. So either that could be like a 1 hour boss that gives you tons of rewards and lasts for a long amount of time, you know, that all the server has to team up against this Gyakusatsu, or it could be a raid feature, you know, whatever it may be. There's a lot of potential towards that aspect, the bandit beater aspect. And aside the fact that Ro-Ghoul is not completed, aside the fact it's an alpha still, after what, almost 8 years now, aside that fact, there still is a lot of, you say, Kaganes or Quinkeys that should be added, that are not added yet. I feel like if Sushi just focuses on the game itself, aside, and keeping the PvP aspect aside, the game would really just come back to life, because then it would make more sense, and most importantly, like a tutorial, because in Ro-Ghoul you have this like, oh, information, so basically this happens and you have to read this tiny text, like a paragraph text, and it's so tiny and it's like, it doesn't really immerse you into the game, you know. I feel like that would be useful. Also, adding the AI moveset to the other bosses, not only Arima and Eto, that would be fun. As a matter of fact, Arima should have his own raid, if you ask me, because Arima doesn't operate by himself 90% of the time. If you guys watch the anime or read the manga, Arima mostly operates with his own team. So that would be really fun to have a raid where you and your friends can go against Arima's squad. That would be such a cool feature. I feel like that would really revive Ro-Ghoul. Now, other small aspects that could be really useful in Ro-Ghoul is boss times. So in Kaizen it tells you, for example, when the boss spawns or when the world boss spawns. Aside the fact that Eto should actually be a raid, I feel like it would be really nice if, let's say we had a map revamp, Eto actually spawns in like a ward, and the way Eto spawns is like she falls from the sky and creates this huge explosion, you know, and then like everyone has to team up to fight Eto. That would be fun. Same goes for other bosses, by the way, you know, like, oh, time until Gyakusatsu spawns, or time until Eto spawns, etc. And another thing is that server optimization. For example, you guys saw at the beginning of the video, I was in a 64-hour long server. I feel like after the 24-hour mark, the servers won't be very stable after all. There should be like some kind of feature where it just shuts down, or the server restarts after a couple of hours, or a certain amount of hours where the server is just not responsive anymore. That would be extremely useful. And for example here, in the Quinque store, I feel like there should be a more organized way to present the Quinques, in where it's like, oh, okay, this Quinque is actually S tier, this Quinque is not S tier. The only thing we have here that is or isn't S tier was actually Owl. Owl used to be SSS tier, or SSS Owl. That was the full name of Owl, for those of you who remember. I feel like that should make things more clear for new players. And one more thing from Kaizen is crafting. So in the anime, as a matter of fact, you can craft Quinques from specific ghouls. So I feel like we should be having this feature where we can craft a Quinque that we want, for example, and then like create it instead of just buying it, you know. It kind of adds more effects and cinema to the game, you could say. Like, oh, to get the Kura, you need to grind, or to get the Fugichi 1, you need to kill Hinami, for example. I know that's traumatizing, but, or Hinami's mom and Hinami's dad, etc. And that always brings me back to the map. So the map could use a lot of rework. I mean, if we go over here, for example, like, okay, this building, sure. Like what is here? You know, it's just an empty space. You know, like the map doesn't have a lot of value. It just has a lot of practical use. And you could say it's just here for decoration. I mean, nowadays, at least for the PvPers, they just go straight to Arena, because Arena is our base spot to PvP. That's all there is to Ro-Ghoul. And this mid-rank Outgear member just killed me. Another two things regarding the map is, for example, this, right? What is the point of a grocery store, right? And what is the point of a marketplace that, like, what, you know, what were we cooking here, Sushi? What were we thinking? There's just a random ghoul here, you know? Like, what exactly were we thinking about? Going to Kami University, this is the most useless university I've seen in my life. I mean, it's just 2 floors, a bunch of classes, and that's it. That are like, it's not even an open university, as a matter of fact, it should be closed. And the fact that we can only access 2 floors out of entire Kami University, right? It's kind of weird, isn't it? I feel like a lot of map changes can happen to the game. Aside the optimizations, the whole general idea of revamping stuff, right? A small example of this is that, for example, Eto. In the anime, Eto is way more larger than a normal human. As a matter of fact, Eto should be twice or 1.5 times bigger than this. And last but not least, regarding the missions or objectives, which, by the way, has a lot of potential. Let's say the marketplace, for example. If we go back to the marketplace, you can see just one ghoul standing there. So there's the ghoul, and they kind of, okay, they're still running away from me, low key. A cool thing would be, that I thought about, is that if this whole area was filled with humans and ghouls, and you can just spray this whole area as an owl, and then like Every ghoul you kill as a CCG, you gain reputation. Every human you kill, you miss reputation, right? That would be a very cool feature. Also, I really forgot about this house. I don't know what this house is about. I don't know what is going on in this house. It's a really nice house. You got housing. You know, we can role play in this game. We can live in houses, make these buildings actual houses, create jobs, you know. That would just add more immersion to the game, to the whole game itself. And keep in mind, I haven't really touched the PvP subject much. There is a lot of potential to Ro-Ghoul. One last thing I just remembered is levels, and you could say stats generally. If Sushi does apply all these things, let's say miraculously, right? Like, let's say the max level goes higher, given the more objectives and stuff. And I feel like it should be higher. Another thing I also remembered, I know I said I wanted to say one last thing, but they just keep coming to me. The amount of thoughts and amount of potential and amount of ideas is insane. We could also use something like destruction to buildings, you know, normal civilians. The map could be like 10 times larger or 100 times larger than what it is right now. We can also have forms of transportation. For example, right, this goddamn train that never really, there is no train in the first place, you know. A lot of potential regarding like role-playing, immersiveness towards the game. I mean, come on, you know, we're not really doing Tokyo Ghoul justice in any way, shape, or form by keeping it like this. Mark my words, if Sushi does apply most of these things that I just mentioned, if not all of these things, I feel like the game would have easily 100,000 active players most of the time. The game would be very immersive. Then again, I'm not really complaining, I'm just trying to recommend some stuff. I don't know if Sushi's a one-man working team. I don't know if he has a team of developers, I'm not sure. And I've been seeing also these other developers, like for Monster Ghoul or for Re-Ghoul or whatever these ghoul games are. I feel like, why don't you just team up together and create the best ghoul game of all time? And if it was in my hands, I would probably start doing that, but I'm just a normal guy, so yeah. Anyways, that was at least most of the parts I wanted to speak about Ro-Ghoul's potential and what it could be and bloom into. I mean, the video being this long should tell you how much potential Ro-Ghoul should have, and how much potential Ro-Ghoul already has, yet doesn't really unlock it, or try to unlock it. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next video.